Welcome to the Full Moon TV Buff, episode 11. We're going to discuss She-Wolf, the Last Sentinel, originally titled Lobo, originally airing in 2008. I started watching this on YouTube and I had not seen this before. As always, we start with the prominent crew and cast. You can also find links to a more complete credit list in the show notes. Now, I should add that since I don't read Filipino or Tagalog, I am more reliant on summaries here that I cannot double check than I would be normally. Mistakes are likely. Please correct me in the comments. Also, apologies if I mispronounce a name. Finally, since I'm mostly unfamiliar with Philippine cinema and television, I'm unsure how to describe their high-profile projects. The directors were Kathy Garcia Sampana and F.M. Reyes. Kathy Garcia Sampana began her career in the 80s as an assistant director under legends like Lino Brocka and Ishmael Bernal. She transitioned to directing in the late 90s. Her breakthrough came with Labs Kita Okay Kalang. Garcia Sampana became the queen of the romantic comedies and family dramas, consistently topping the Philippine box office with crowd pleasers like A Love Story, You Changed My Life, It Takes a Man and a Woman, Finally Found Someone, and Hello, Love, Goodbye. F.M. Reyes also began his career in the early 2000s as an assistant director and script supervisor before transitioning to directing. He broke through in the late 2000s and 2010s with hits like Just the Way You Are, How to Be Yours, and Love You to the Stars and Back. The regular cast includes Angel Locsin as Laika Raimundo, Piolo Pascual as Noah Ortega, Shaina Mandayao as Gabriel Dizon, Ryan Eigenmann as Anton Rivero, Pilar Pilapil as Eleonora Blancaflor, aka Lady L, Agot Isidro as Nessa Blancaflor Raimundo, Dante Rivero as General Leon Cristobal, Robert Arevalo as Manolo Sebastian, Dimples Romana as Trixie, and Irma Adlawan as Clara Rivero. Angel Locsin began modeling and acting as a teenager, debuting on TV with Click and Ang TV before breaking through as the lead in the fantasy series Mulawin and Darna, where her portrayal of the iconic superhero Darna cemented her status as a pop culture icon. She dominated the 2000s and 2010s with blockbuster romantic comedies and dramas including Only You, Lobo, Immortal, The Legal Wife, and The General's Daughter. Piolo Pascual began his career as a model and TV personality in the late 90s. He rose to stardom with Lagarista and Mila, but his breakthrough came as the romantic lead in Madrasta and the blockbuster Dekada 70. Pascual became a box office powerhouse, starring in massive hits like Milan, Now That I Have You, The Promise, A Love Story, You Changed My Life, and Starting Over Again. A multi-hyphenate, he released several platinum albums. Shaina Magdeo is the youngest of four siblings in the showbiz family. Sister Maria Isabel is also an actress. She began her career at age 7 with Ang TV and commercials. She was a prominent child star in youth-oriented shows like ASAP and Star Circle Quest. Her breakthrough dramatic role came as the lead in the teen series Magah Angel na Walang Langgit. As an adult, she starred in high-rated teleseries like Sana Maulit Muli, Iisa Pa Lamang, Madge Carabel, Ika Lamang, and The Killer Bride. Her film work includes performances in Angels, In the Name of Love, and Finally Found Someone. She has also released music albums. The son of veteran actors Eddie Eigenmann and Elizabeth Oropesa, the nephew of actor Mark Gill, Ryan Eigenmann grew up immersed in show business. He debuted as a child actor in the early 90s and matured into a reliable character actor, excelling in villainous and complex roles. He gained prominence with performances in teleseries such as Sana Maulit Muli, Lisa Pang Lamang, Mag Carabal, and The General's Daughter. Pilar Pilapil was crowned Binibining's Pilipinas Universe 1967 and represented the Philippines at Miss Universe at just 16 years old. Following this success, she made her acting debut in the 1968 action film El Nino. Throughout the 70s and 80s, Pilapil built a prolific film career, winning awards on films like Imelda, Ang Ularan, Napakasakit, Kuya Eddie, and Kailan Bantama Ang Mali. She later transitioned to television, often playing complex maternal or antagonistic roles. Her daughter, Pia Pilapil, is also an actress. Agot Isidro began her career as a commercial model and VJ before transitioning to film and television. Isidro appeared in critically acclaimed films like Mila and Manapo. She has had roles in dramas such as Every Breath You Take and the hit series Two Wives. Dante Rivero rose to fame in the 70s as a leading man. He gained prominence and acclaim for performances in landmark movies such as Manila, Sai Magay, Kuko Liwanag, and Kisap Mata. A constant presence on television, he is memorable for his work in long-running dramas and series like Mula sa Puso and Walang Hanggan. Robert Aravelo's career began in the 50s. Notable early films include My Serenade and Ingehuit Tadhana. He delivered powerful performances in films like Kisap Mata and The Flor Contemplacion Story. Beyond film, Aravelo is a distinguished stage actor and founding member of the Philippine Educational Theater Association. Dimples Romana began her career as a child star in the 90s on the popular children's show Ang TV. She transitioned to mature roles in primetime television series such as Pangangko Soyo and The Legal Wife. Romana achieved acclaim for her portrayal of the complex villainess Danielle Moondragon and the hit series Kananang Ginto, and I am totally borrowing that name for a D&D character. Irma Adlawan has been a mainstay with leading theater companies like Repertory Philippines and Takalang Filipino, delivering iconic roles in classics such as The Glass Menagerie and adaptations of Nola Mi Tanger, the opera. She transitioned to film with roles in Mina Anud, Honor Thy Father, and By Bust. On television, she is remembered for roles on Pangangko Soyo and The General's Daughter. There is so much crying in this. It felt like 30 hours of crying. I do not recommend this series unless you are super interested in international takes on werewolf mythology, particularly how different cultures interpret the lycanthropic lore, or you just love the teleserie format. On the upside, the production values were higher than I expected, and it offers a unique perspective on the werewolf genre through the lens of Filipino storytelling traditions. The bigger issues are just that the romance elements bored me to tears, and the heroine constantly annoyed me. I did just enough research to establish that she is a fairly typical representative of the standard Filipino teleseries heroine, which means I am not eager to hunt down another example of this unless I have to. Oh, and the confession. After 8 episodes, I switched to watching the series at high speed to get it over with quicker. And after 30 episodes, I threw in the towel. I'm sorry. I just could not make myself finish it. It was really starting to impact my desire to watch other movies. I'll try to watch it at a slower pace in time to make an attempt at the 2 sequels, but no promises. Now, I do want to take a second to ask about something that bugged me while I watched. Throughout the series, Angel Locsin, the actress portraying Laika, repeatedly has her cleavage blurred out. Occasionally, other female characters get the same treatment, but not nearly as often. Her costumes were clearly appropriate when they originally filmed everything, and if there were concerns about Filipino broadcasting standards, wouldn't the production team have just dressed her differently from the start? The whole thing makes me think that the blurring happened later, maybe when they uploaded it to YouTube, but that still doesn't explain why it's just her. It's the same production company uploading these episodes, so what's the deal? If anybody has any insight into why this happened or what's going on here, please drop a comment below because it's low-key driving me crazy. As a tidbit, the dog that portrays Laika, White Wolf alter ego, was a purebred dog named Braska, a white shepherd, brought from France and costing 200,000, whatever the currency in the Philippines is. Okay, here's the premise. The plot revolves around young lovers Laika Raimundo and Noah Ortega, who find themselves on opposite sides of an ancient supernatural war. Laika is the last Sentinel, a powerful werewolf destined to play a crucial role in the battle between 2 werewolf clans, the Luna and the Wea. Noah, initially human, is drawn into this world when he saves Don Manolo Sebastian during a military mission. The central question driving the narrative, can love prevail between 2 people who are destined to destroy each other? Given that I couldn't force myself to complete it, I had to finish the story via internet wikis. So let's cover the core characters. Laika Raimundo wants to be a famous fashion designer, thought a job as a fashion assistant in the House of El was her best opportunity. However, her dreams are derailed by the reality of her nature. She faces a Herculean task as the Huling Bantay, the savior of her werewolf race. Possessing superior powers to normal werewolves, Laika is the most powerful of her species. She falls in love with a mortal man, Noah Ortega, breaching a law against the commingling of mortals and werewolves that no other werewolf bothers with. Noah Ortega is a second lieutenant in the Philippine Army, working undercover as personal bodyguard for Eleonora Blanca Floran, a suspected Wayan leader. Noah belongs to an elite force tasked with uncovering werewolves. He is known for his intelligence and skill in combat. Behind his quiet and mysterious surface lies a deeply emotional man. He falls in love with Laika. He defies everything he believes in for the sake of love. He has some sort of inherited genetic immunity to lycanthropy. Gabrielle Dizon, a military soldier who works in the intelligence division. Gabrielle is Noah's childhood best friend. She is secretly in love with Noah. She is constantly torn between trying to keep Noah in line and helping him. Alec Aragon is a werewolf descended from the last Huling Bante, Remus. Alex came to train Laika in her role and fell in love with her. Anton Rivero is deeply in love with Laika, with whom he grew up as a cousin. Using his intelligence as a chemist and his innate ferociousness, Anton will do everything in his power to have Laika, even if one of the choices is killing Noah. He became infected with lycanthropy and spends most of the series hunting for a cure. He is the last villain that Laika and Noah defeat. Eleonora Blancafleur, aka Lady L, is a fabulous matriarch in the fashion industry across Asia. She is president of the House of L, a leader of the Wea werewolf clan, and the strongest Wea before Laika showed up. She is the twin sister of Lorenzo, and therefore Laika's long-lost great-aunt. As an aside, she often calls herself Laika's grandmother. I don't know if this is a Filipino cultural thing or a translation issue. Nessa Blancafleur Ramundo is Lorenzo Blancafleur's daughter. She didn't know she was a werewolf because her father had died and her mom didn't tell her. She transformed past her scheduled time, a Nilakatuan, and accidentally killed her own mother and fiancé. She was captured and imprisoned as a lab experiment in a top-secret facility owned by a secret faction of the Lunas. General Leon Cristobal is Noah's adoptive father. He raised Noah after his father died. He is a military man who raises his kids with an iron fist. He takes his responsibilities at work seriously. His military missions come first before his duty as a father to Noah and Zoe. Manolo Sebastian is the owner of the House of L and a former member of the Luna organization. Manolo fell in love with Lady L and got to know the werewolves as peace-loving beings who prevent their own kind from killing humans. He uses his power and influence to protect the werewolves, especially Lady L's community. He is willing to risk everything he owns in the name of love. Trixie works at the House of L. She is Laika's closest friend and guardian, a Tag Alaga, and is a direct descendant from a line of seers. Her grandmother was Remus's seer, who has passed on the legacy now to Trixie. She serves as Laika's seer. Clara Rivero acts as a surrogate mother to both Laika and Anton. Clara's world mainly revolves around Anton, while Laika suffers from her abusiveness. A lot of soap opera shenanigans go on here. Will they, won't they, backstabbing coworkers, dramatic family confrontations. This is the part of the video where I normally summarize the plot of each episode. I even started taking notes, but about episode 10, the melodrama became too much. In the interest of my sanity and your time, I began to limit my summaries to just the werewolf-related content of each episode. Unfortunately, about 25 episodes in, something happened. I don't know if ABS-CBN uploaded the episodes in the wrong order, if they were poorly edited down, or if they just stopped making sense altogether, or perhaps my brain just broke. I gave up. It's probably for the best, so you don't have to sit through 60 episode synopsis. Just assume about half of each episode is people crying. We can talk about the season arc. The arc follows Laika Raimundo's journey from an ordinary fashion assistant to accepting her destiny as the last Sentinel. She's the lost grandchild of werewolf nobility, raised away from her people and clan. She learns who she is and where she belongs. Parallel to this, Noah Ortega evolves from a scared boy to a dedicated soldier. He is drafted to be the perfect werewolf hunter. He must choose between duty and love. The pair are moon-crossed lovers. The overarching narrative builds towards a climactic confrontation between the werewolf clans and the military. Laika's unique power as the prophesied Sentinel determines the outcome. The romantic tension between Laika and Noah serves as the emotional core, complicated by their roles on opposite sides of this ancient war. Laika goes to work as a fashion assistant in the House of L. She lives with her Aunt Clara and her step-cousin Anton. Noah is the adopted son of General Leon Cristobal, who takes over guardianship of Noah after his real father, Emil Ortega, dies in a tragic accident involving an unknown wolf. Noah is a second lieutenant of the Filipino Army and was actively recruited to join the Luna Force, an elite team specializing in protecting humans from dangerous supernatural creatures. Laika and Noah knew each other as children, using the names Ule and JJ. They were separated and believed that the other had died. Laika's life is complicated by the fact that she is a werewolf who hasn't transformed yet, who doesn't even know that she is one because her werewolf mom was captured when she was a child. Her mom, Vanessa Blancaflor Raimundo, is the daughter of Lorenzo Blancaflor, the twin brother of Eleanor Blancaflor, owner of the fashion house, House of L. Secretly, the Blancaflors are powerful werewolves who have led the Waya Council for generations. Laika is believed to be the Huling Bante, the last hope or the last guardian of her fellow werewolves. Lady L instantly senses her presence at a chance encounter and hires Laika to work directly with her team so that she can watch over her and help her through her coming transformation, which she believes will occur on her 21st birthday. The Huling Bante must protect the werewolf population from the deadly rays of the upcoming red moon, the Pulang Buwan, a phenomenon that occurs every 500 years or so, which can potentially destroy all the werewolves. Only the last guardian, the strongest Waya, can save the species by raising the stone of Remus. The previous Huling Bante was Remus, who kept the talisman for the next guardian to use. At the House of L, Laika crosses paths with Noah, Lady L's bodyguard. He's really undercover Luna, since they suspect her of being a werewolf. Laika and Noah fall in love. And by the time they fall deeply in love, Laika reaches her time, fully accepting her werewolf nature and the bigger responsibility as the last guardian. Despite the many obstacles, Noah and Laika's love for each other prevails. They marry in the end and together battle and defeat all their enemies. Now, 3 other characters create additional conflict. Noah's friend, Gabriel Dazan, is an intelligence officer tasked to bring Noah over to the Luna Force and for the purposes of destroying and ridding the country of all werewolves altogether. This is complicated by the fact that she loves Noah and truly cares for him. Anton Rivero, Laika's step-cousin, protects her from his abusive stepmother, Clara, and is obsessed with Laika. General Silva, a secret rogue werewolf banished by the Wayas, is out for revenge and to destroy the council. The story features 2 main opposing groups, the Lunas and the Waya, with a smaller third faction of evil Black Waya outcasts. The Lunas are part of the Filipino army, tasked with protecting humans from werewolves and vampires. A rogue faction led by General Silva harbors a personal vendetta against werewolves, seeking to sabotage Luna's leadership and eradicate them. Silva recruits Noah for his elite skills and for the rare gene in his blood that grants him natural immunity to werewolf bites, which he inherited from his father. Manipulating Noah into joining, Silva secretly extracts his blood to develop an antidote against the poisonous lycanthropic bites. Now, the Waya is led mostly by Lady L, although this does change a bit as various factions fight for control. The Wayas control and preside over the affairs of the white werewolves and execute justice over the black werewolves and vampires who prey on humans. Since the vampires have retreated into hiding, the Waya mostly deal with the rogue werewolves, secretly working with the regular Lunas to protect their species. 2 warring factions among the werewolves threaten the agreement between the Waya and the Lunas and disturb the peace within the population. While the white werewolves respect the human beings that they secretly live amidst and in peace with, the black werewolves kill humans, perpetuating the biggest reasons why werewolves are feared. The Waya impose justice on the werewolves who drink human blood, doing their best to apprehend and kill the black werewolves. On the night of the red moon, Laika, fully and finally accepting her role as Huling Bante, successfully retrieves the Stone of Remus, almost losing her life in the process, and saves her people from the purge. She exhorts them to coexist harmoniously with human beings and to stop the prejudice against the black wolves. She becomes their head guardian, leading the council for an integrated black and white werewolf population, thereby saving the world. Laika later defeats the bigger threat of her step-cousin Anton's metamorphosis into a demon werewolf. Anton is an accomplished chemist whose specialty is animal diseases and virus mutations. All his life, he has worked toward finding a cure for his werewolf nature. As a child, he was accidentally bitten by Nessa, who was then in her werewolf form. General Silva hires him to work on the antidote for lycanthropy. Anton discovers a more potent formulation, a mixture of Laika's and Noah's blood, which he injects into his system, giving him immunity to werewolf bites and the ability to heal his wounds quickly. Stealing the Stone of Remus from Laika and following instructions from an ancient book General Silva has in his possession, he transforms into a powerful werewolf. Unfortunately, his distorted love and obsession for Laika change his soul and personality, turning him into a formidable enemy who almost defeats Laika and Noah in their last battle. Celebrating their victory and the peaceful coexistence of humans and werewolves, Lady L toasts Noah and Laika's pregnancy, foreshadowing 2 sequels, Immortal and La Luna Sangra. Laika and Noah are pushing 2 twin strollers. We'll see if I can finish those when I get there. The transformation sequences were really disappointing. I have no idea if the special effects are typical of a Filipino teleseries at the time. It's just a flash of light, and then they're wolves. This show does attempt to intertwine classic mythological tropes with a vibrant Filipino influence to create a tapestry of supernatural heritage and cultural depth. At its core are the ancient feuding forces: Luna, representing a humanity fearful of what it doesn't understand and can't control, and the Waya, fierce guardians rooted in earthly ferocity. This mirrors Filipino folklore tales of enchanted bloodlines and ancestral rivalries, where supernatural families clash over territory, honor, and destiny. Central to this lore is the Sentinel, a prophesied chosen one among werewolves, bestowed with extraordinary abilities such as heightened senses, regenerative healing, and the power to commune with ancestral spirits. Stringent rules passed down through generations govern werewolf society. Transformations typically occur on one's 21st birthday, marking the rite of passage into full lupine form. The gene runs dominantly in families, ensuring the bloodline's continuity, and the taboo forbids mating with humans to preserve purity and prevent dilution of their essence. Exceptions exist, as seen in the protagonist Lyca's mixed heritage from her grandfather's forbidden union, her mother's unwitting repetition of that, her own human entanglements, and even Lady L's romance with the mortal Manolo. Permissible, perhaps, because her age is beyond childbearing. Underpinning this hierarchy is the enigmatic Canon X gene, akin to a mystical force indicator, think midichlorians, quantifying a werewolf's latent power. Lyca's unprecedented levels exceed 1 million, signifying her unparalleled potential as the last sentinel, destined to bridge the clans and avert an impending cataclysm. Let's talk about the Filipino teleseries. In Philippine households across the islands and throughout the global diaspora, families gather nightly around television screens to follow the latest twists in their favorite teleseries. This uniquely Filipino genre blends American soap operas, Latin American telenovelas, and indigenous storytelling into something distinctly local, yet increasingly global in its reach. The term teleserie itself is a Filipino invention, merging tele from televisión, television, and serie, series. Let's explore its history, structure, themes, and cultural significance. A note before we begin, I'm obviously not Filipino, nor an expert in this field. This essay relies on research and outside sources. There are certainly more authoritative voices out there on this subject if you want to find them. The teleserie traces its roots to the early 1960s, when Philippine television was finding its footing. In 1962, ABS-CBN aired the country's first TV soap, Hiwaga sa Bahay na Bato, aka The Mystery of the Stone House, a gothic daily drama about a hunchback terrorizing a family. Shot live with a single camera, it ran for a year and established the viability of serialized drama on Philippine television. 2 years later, Santa Zita and Mary Rose depicted the struggles of housekeepers in an upper-class home, complete with clear moral lessons and occasional fourth wall breaks as well. These early shows established two distinct styles that would come to define the genre: bombastic fantasy and refined social drama. Everything changed in 1972 when Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law. Networks were closed, assets redistributed, and the media landscape fundamentally reshaped. Long-running soap operas dominated the airwaves. Hulong ng Palad, aka The Wheel of Fortune, captivated audiences with its tale of star-crossed lovers, while late martial law hits like Flor de Luna and Annalisa, both featuring mistreated young girls, captured the era's pervasive sense of helplessness under authoritarian rule. The 1986 People Power Revolution ended the dictatorship and restored democracy, which revived broadcast competition between ABS-CBN and GMA. The newly liberated networks diversified their offerings. Shows like Aguila and Valiente featured strong male leads whose stories critiqued Marcos-style hubris. Cinderella tales persisted. Ana Luna's oppressed washerwoman became a symbol for national struggles, but the genre was evolving. Then came Mara Clara in 1992, which innovated by making both of its swapped-at-birth girls, one rich, one poor, equally central to the story. This popularized the baby swapping trope that has become a teleseries staple. The real game changer arrived in 1996, when the Mexican telenovela Marimar aired in the Philippines and absolutely captivated the nation. Its tightly packed episodes, dramatic twists, character depth, and gorgeous on-location shooting inspired Filipino producers. Networks imported more Latin American shows while adopting their production techniques: multi-camera setups, grander locations, and faster pacing, blending these elements with Filipino sensibilities. Mula sa Puso introduced audiences to more complex, scheming villains. Esperanza depicted a family's reunion after tragedy. San Kaman Nararun featured identical triplets separated at birth. These shows emphasized extreme plots, overt villainy, stark moral contrasts, and fiercer female leads tackling both domestic and social issues. In 2000, ABS-CBN officially coined the term teleserie for Pangangko Sa'yo, aka The Promise, signaling a new era of epic scale and cinematic artistry. The show's pilot episode featured 34 sequences, double the industry norm for significantly faster pacing. Running for 2 years, it spanned generations of star-crossed lovers while addressing land reform, political corruption, corporate greed, and economic inequality. This single show redefined what Philippine television drama could be. With the teleseries format now established, producers began experimenting. Fantaserie, like 2003's Marina, about a mermaid's curse, Mulawin, and Encantadia trilogy drew heavily from Filipino folklore and mythology. Meanwhile, the arrival of Korean dramas, Korean novellas, brought new styles of romance and melodrama, prompting local networks to produce their own period pieces about national heroes and explore bolder themes. Modern teleseries typically air on weekdays, Monday through Friday, in roughly 1-hour blocks, about 30 minutes of actual content divided into sequences with cliffhangers strategically placed for commercial breaks. Time slots include prime time, 6 p.m. and later, post-noon time, 1 to 2 p.m. and onward, and pre-noon time, 10 a.m. to noon. Most are produced in Filipino. Production has evolved dramatically from the single-camera studio broadcasts of the 60s. Today's teleseries use multi-camera setups, digital technology, and extensive location shooting to achieve a much more cinematic feel. Unlike the early indefinite runs, with some shows lasting over 6 years, modern teleseries typically wrap up in under 2 years with tighter narrative arcs. At their core, teleseries are rooted in social realism and melodrama, mirroring the daily lives and historical experiences of Filipino audiences. Romance is central, featuring love triangles, forbidden loves, class barriers, and second chance relationships. Rags to riches tales show humble protagonists rising through virtue, hard work, or connections to wealthy families, reflecting both the harsh realities of inequality and the persistent hope for social mobility. Family dynamics dominate the genre. Conflicts, rivalries, separations, reunions, secret parentage, and switched babies all explore questions of identity and belonging. Social issues feature prominently as well, from the pain experienced by families of overseas Filipino workers to government corruption, labor exploitation, and the treatment of domestic workers. Fantasy series use folklore creatures such as aswang, vampires, or encanto, enchanted beings, to allegorize political realities and social structures. Teleseries rely on recognizable character archetypes, though modern shows have made them more nuanced. Protagonists are typically female and embody virtue, resilience, and humble origins. Modern heroines are more assertive than their passive predecessors. Antagonists, aka the contribita, are jealous, greedy schemers, though the best shows give them complex motivations rooted in pain or trauma rather than just being pure evil. Romantic leads typically cross class lines and start their relationships with misunderstandings that fuel the drama. Comic relief characters, usually servants, friends, or sidekicks, add humor and often serve as the common sense voice of the audience. Supporting roles include controlling matriarchs and patriarchs, loyal helpers, mistresses, habit, and innocent children who drive the emotional stakes. Certain narrative devices appear again and again, becoming a regular part of the teleserie vocabulary. Switched babies explore themes of identity and class. Presumed dead characters returning create dramatic reveals. Amnesia allows character and relationship resets. Physical transformations like makeovers and disguises facilitate revenge or escape. Secret recordings expose villains at climactic moments. Overheard secrets drive misunderstandings or confrontations. Medical crises reveal hidden family ties or add urgent stakes. The Philippine television industry operates as a duopoly, dominated by ABS-CBN and GMA, which spurs innovation but also encourages reliance on proven formulas. Love teams, actor pairs marketed both on and off screen, build fan loyalty extending beyond individual shows. Product placement integrates brands directly into storylines, providing crucial funding. Writers typically produce episodes weeks ahead of broadcast, adjusting storylines based on ratings, a flexibility keeping shows responsive but also risking narrative inconsistency. Pangangko Sa'yo reached audiences across Southeast Asia, Africa, and even beyond. Cambodia even produced its own adaptation, The Filipino diaspora sustains global viewership through international channels, while streaming platforms like Netflix have removed geographic barriers entirely. While they are grounded in Filipino context, the universal themes of love, betrayal, family, and redemption resonate across cultures. The industry does face significant challenges. Streaming platforms favor shorter content. Korean dramas are offering stiff competition. ABS-CBN's controversial 2020 shutdown disrupted the duopoly, and social media creates pressure for sensationalism and instant reactions. Some producers are experimenting with tighter plots and shorter runs. Others double down on what makes teleseries distinctly Filipino: heightened melodrama with direct engagement with local social issues. Quality varies significantly between flagship productions and lower budget offerings. So, how well does She-Wolf fit the teleserie mold? While I can't comment on its specific airing schedule or time slot, it clearly employs modern multi-camera production and location shooting techniques. The core romance between Laika and Noah drives the melodrama with its absurd complications, love triangles, and obstacles. Laika follows the classic rags to riches arc, a poor girl making her way in the city. Family ties are appropriately convoluted, particularly involving Lady L. Laika fits the virtuous protagonist archetype, hidden antagonists lurk in the shadows, literally, and the story features presumed dead lovers and surprise family revelations. All classic teleserie tropes. The closest Western analog I can think of is Wolf Lake, a short-lived primetime supernatural soap about werewolves and small-town secrets. The teleserie emerges from international influences and indigenous roots to become a distinctly Filipino art form with global appeal. From live single-camera broadcasts in cramped studios to sprawling cinematic fantasies shot on location, the genre has evolved while staying true to its essential nature. More than mere entertainment, the teleseries is the dramatized story of Filipino life itself, intertwined with 6 decades of history, processing collective trauma, nurturing hope, confronting inequality, and celebrating the bonds that hold families and communities together. As media continues to evolve, the teleseries' resilience and its commitment to universal human stories ensures its place not just in Filipino culture, but in the global, broader landscape of television. So, if you like lycanthropes, like, share, and subscribe. Contribute your thoughts and additional observations in the comments below. Let me know what I missed or what you noticed. Next, I plan on discussing Spice and Wolf, also from 2008. Keep your eye on the moon, a silver bolt in the chamber, and we'll see you back here next episode.